Hey everybody, this is Ted Cantu, and we're here today for day two of the Health and Wealth Challenge. Oh, here we go. Health and Wealth Challenge, day two, right here. I'm Ted Cantu, I'm your host, and we got some really great things here today. We got a little bit of technical difficulties. We're getting back on schedule here. I'm going to share with you some stuff about health and healing, and I think that's going to be really, really eye-opening. I hope you brought your notebooks. We're starting right now at 1 o'clock. Yesterday we actually went for 2.5 hours. I don't know if we're gonna go that high today, but we might go. Well, we'll see where it takes us. I got a bunch of stuff I want to get through, and I want to say really upfront that if you're looking to do something like this for yourself, just be on the lookout for Facebook and Instagram. They are actually owned by the same company now, and they're going to do everything in their power to stop you from having real conversations like this. They want you to have tons of ads. You got to buy a ton of ads, and you got to really, really play their game. And I'm not willing to do that. So they took down some of my posts. And if you've noticed, if you follow my personal page, you'll see some screenshots. I might drop those in editing when I'm going to get through here with this program. But until then, I just want you to know that they're not on your side. And we haven't gotten to the business portion of the show yet, but I will say that for the most part, I really think that it's going to be all about new environments, new channels of distribution to get real customers in the door, real people, not bots, not ads. I don't think that's going to really go. So they know that I'm not on their side. I'm using new advanced technology, click funnels, audiences of podcasting, real people, local traffic. And you know what? They don't like it. Google is getting pretty bad too. So these are the giants. And you got to remember, there was a life before 2013. And it was quite good and glorious in advertising. And that's where I'm from. I'm Ted Cantu. I'm from Chicago, New York City, and Connecticut, actually, the East Coast. So New York, Chicago, and Metro Detroit. Last but least, Detroit. It's closed-minded city, but we're going to do the best we can to get out here and really get some really good people. That's my whole goal here. That's what we're doing. And I'm awesomely glad that I'm not involved with a chamber group, a breakfast business group, because I'm able to shoot my mouth off and inform you and tell you what to do to achieve the best in health and wealth and finances and building an incredible life for yourself. I only get about, I think, 2 minutes. Was it 2 minutes or was it five? I don't think it was 5 minutes. And when I was in the chamber groups, I had to only speak for 5 minutes. We went on a table, and I did this format so many times, and I got to say that it's very limiting. And this format allows me to actually speak and reach more people. So anyway, welcome aboard. You could always find me at tedcantu.com. You have any questions at all, give me a call here at 248-277-6141. And also at my email, which is tedcantu@gmail.com. I made it really simple. I don't want to overwhelm anybody. So that's what we're doing. And okay, so we're coming in at 105. And I got some really great resources here. They're a little interesting. My printer is going through some ink problems, and we're going to get that resolved. So I'll be reading off my notes off my phone, which is so I'm not ignoring you. I'm actually reading the notes right off my phone. And I came across something in my library, which is really interesting. How to make disease disappear. You see that? The author is what is his name? So the national bestseller. I can't pronounce it. You just got to you have to read it right there. Okay. Pretty cool stuff. And I highly suggest picking it up. It's worth it, really. Looking at chronic diseases such as type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, depression, and dementia today is a nation's leading causes of death and disability. Okay, I got a take on that. I've got a lot to say about that, so I'll be touching upon some of his points, and some of the stuff I agree with, and some of the stuff I don't agree with, because I've lived it. and not living through a book, but actually lived it and survived it and gotten through some really ugly situations in our wonderful medical system. I'm lucky to still be here and still be amongst all of you, and that's why I'm here to give you all the information I can. So that's where we're at with stuff. Okay. Before I get into all the disease stuff and all the pain and suffering and just the really nitty gritty stuff, I'm gonna just tell you a little bit about what happened recently. I took about a month off. I was really sick. I got so cleaned out. I lost a lot of weight. I dropped about 59 pounds the last time I checked, and I still got a long way to go. You can still see I got a little bit of a, in the face. I got to lose some weight here in the neck and all that. I dropped a couple belt sizes, which I'm a little ticked off about because I just bought a new belt recently. I got new jeans too. I didn't want to have old man jeans, and I was told to get new jeans, so I did. I got a new belt. Now it's like I got to get new clothes again. I keep losing weight. I don't know what's up with that, but now I just got to kind of firm up and just be thankful, right? Instead of being upset, I should be thankful. It's Thanksgiving week next week, and so I'm not obese, I'm not morbidly obese anymore. So that's the first step about losing your train ticket to diabetes too. Is you want to make sure that you lose a lot of weight and actually cut out the meat too. So I'm going to get into some of that stuff. But so I took about a month off. I was sick after getting so cleaned out. I couldn't handle sugar for some reason, and I went out for some. Some of you guys know this. I actually went out for some Italian ice, and with my family, and I ended up getting really sick. It was too much sugar. Actually, it wasn't so much sugar was the problem. Is that Michigan doesn't understand Italian ice. I was just like, and they want to make money off their machines. Some of those machines are about $8,000, so I can't really blame them. But the portion size was about the size of an old Pharaoh's pig dinner, if you remember those things, like 18 scoops. I'm exaggerating, of course, but it was about 5 scoops of this stuff, and it was $8. I was kind of pissed off that I had to pay $8 for this thing, but I was a good sport about it. It was a hot day. I couldn't drive back home because we're in a park, and a big city park, and I just had to eat the whole thing. Otherwise, I'd be wearing it, right? All of my shirt and all of my clothes. So I ate it, and my neck blew out like this, and I couldn't breathe, and felt like my air constriction was like the size of a straw, like a pea, like this, I can't breathe, and I couldn't talk, and I couldn't do anything. Just mucus and phlegm came out of me, and I was a mess. Way too much sugar when you're that cleaned out. And I got to wonder, like, how many people realize how plugged up they are with artificial preservatives and foods and food colorings and artificial foodstuffs. And kind of reminds me of the book The Crazy Makers, which I'll be talking about in my office. It's here somewhere, but you know what? I got so much stuff here, I can't really tell you what I did with it. And I'm gonna have to just basically talk about it from memory. I hope you can be cool with that, because I had it out here to look for, but I memorized quite a bit of it. So I'll be talking about some of that stuff. So after the sugar deal, I had to deal with I had some sort of congestion problem. I don't know if that was what that was all about. I had a little assignment down in Bingham Farms, and it didn't it didn't last long. But there was a guy there who sneezed all over everything, and I was kind of wary of him. I didn't really know what his deal was. He wouldn't cover his mouth or anything. Like, he was proud of his illness. So unfortunately, I ended up being in the next cube over from him, and he'll swear up and down it wasn't my fault, or it wasn't his fault, but I contracted some sort of weird illness, some congestion thing, and I ended up very ill. I just didn't know how ill I was. I thought at first it was food poisoning, but then it turned out to be something more sinister, and I ended up getting very sick. And this went on for a while. I took some black seed oil, and if you know anything about black seed oil, it's from like the Middle East. It's the cure all. It says it can cure everything except death. That's what it says about black seed oil. There's a big thing about it. There's different grades, there's different powders, there's different ways you can take it. But I had the liquid form, and it came like in a bottle, kind of like this. It's very similar to oregano, right? They make it. The American Spice Company actually makes it, but the one I have is actually it was a smaller bottle and different manufacturer. This is a good company though. If you've ever had this stuff, this is oregano. I'll kind of get into that a little bit. It's a good thing to have on hand. I call it nature's whiskey, right? That's what I call it because it kind of tastes like whiskey, really, but but it's better for you. And it's made from oregano, which is actually or oregano, which is oil of oregano, and it's um, quite possibly hyssop from the Bible, right? They think that's what this stuff is. The guy who actually does this is Dr. Cass Ingram, and it's his company. But he swears up and down that this is could be hyssop, right? He extracts it, he steams it, and it just what do you say? He just basically extracted all the oxygen-rich, healthy cardiovascular response goodness out of here. I'm not a scientist, um, but it's awesome stuff, and I highly suggest you pick it up. Anyway, back to the black seed oil. I took some of that stuff, and my vision was going like left. My eyeballs were going left to right, left to right, left to right, left to right. I couldn't figure out what was going on, and I couldn't read. I couldn't watch TV. I couldn't do anything. And this stuff came out of me, and I threw up. And I shouldn't even tell you this stuff, but I'll just tell you. I'll tell you the real stuff that happens to me. I threw up in a bucket actually, and I couldn't walk. And my dexterity was all off. I was like this, and I couldn't walk down the hall. I mean, I was a real mess. And but that didn't get it out of me either. What really got me going to the road of health and wellness from that little bout of congestion, flu, or whatever that was actually chaga. And chaga is spelled CHAGA. These guys make chaga. They make a chaga tea. And actually, that's what I found. It's a powdered mushroom extract. They get it from Siberia. It grows on these trees, and they shave it into like a coffee type substance. And what they do is you actually drink it, right? And it's amazing. What's going on here? My green screen's going bananas. Anyway, that's what's going on there. What's going on? Oh boy, here we go. Okay, we're falling apart here, folks. No, I'm kidding. The think tank. This is the think tank. We put this together for you so we can actually show you some videos and have some candid conversations without being censored by social media, because they don't want real information going out. They want you to buy ads. They want you to be a puppet, and actually, I'm not going to do any of that. So that's why I'm here, to protect you people and show you the truth. And this is what we do. I'm not a doctor. I'm not licensed to dispense any kind of medical information, but I will explain some of the things that I found that are pretty interesting. And books. I've got quite a library, and it's filled with years and years of collecting just different things about health and healing and wellness. So this is what we're about. So that was my thing. The black seed oil. I can't say enough good things about it. You should have that in your system to just flush your system out from any kind of bacteria and fungus and aerial bacteria that we acquire when we go into places like gyms, right, which are really pretty gross, disgusting, really, and saunas and yoga studios and stuff. There's bacteria everywhere. Subways. If you guys are in the cities, I used to live in Chicago and New York City, and I know that subways are really, really just a filthy place to go. Any kind of place with public transit, even walking into a local restaurant. I worked in a lot of those places, and they're not exactly clean. So just be careful when you go out. And there's a lot of weird stuff out there. So anyway, that's that. Black seed oil. Can't say enough good things about it. I'm just gonna go down the list, and then I should probably put this into like a different kind of like a workbook or something for you guys. There's a lot to be said about growing your hair back, this is interesting stuff. I was over at the hospital, and that was not a good experience. But I had to get there for cellulitis, and they pumped me full of different types of antibiotics. And I was, in fact, I had some sort of like a flush in my the IV, and it flushed out all of the junk in my body. And they got rid of the cellulitis, thank God, because that was crawling up my leg. And if it would have got to my heart, it would have. I was told it would have killed me. Right? That's what they said. But I was a good sport about it. I went through that process, and uh, they gave me this stuff, and it settled in my system. My hair started falling out, and now I was born with hair, so I don't know understand what that was all about. But like right here, like right here, it was coming out, and it was just a bald spot. It's starting to, you can see the scalp. Um, I took some action on that, and I think it was apple cider vinegar really that really did the trick. And of course, well, that stuff is pretty strong. You don't want to drink it straight. What's going on, my jacket? You don't want to drink that stuff straight. You want to actually mix it with water and just like 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar inside some distilled water with a little bit of raw honey. It's got to be raw honey, and it's got to be lemon, fresh lemon. And you make a nice drink out of that and start slugging that down, and starts growing. Your hair starts to grow. That was one of the things I did. And as far as I know, is we went to the Ayurvedic section of our local Indian market, and that's really interesting. We could do a whole show just on that, because what I found over there was a lot of the teas, a lot of the elixirs they have, and the different types of syrups and things that they import into our country. It's very incredibly healthy, and if you study this stuff and you find out what it does, you know, multiple health benefits, which is so incredible. And what I really liked about it was that if Americans knew it was actually inside the Indian grocery stores, and they knew what they were buying, they would probably raise the prices on it. No kidding, they probably would. At least American stores would be buying it and charging 6 times as much, right? Like Amazon.com kind of does that. They'll sell Ayurvedic stuff too, but and of course the quality might vary from brand to brand. But basically, the base root stuff, the teas, the powders, the foodstuffs that are inside of the Ayurvedic, um, products are life changing and very, very affordable. I mean, it's amazing. When I say affordable, I mean like they do have something that helps grow your hair back over there to make it black and strong and have some strong roots and all that. And it was like $5, which is really crazy. And if you try to buy some of this stuff over here with the hormone therapy stuff, and you got the collagen coming off of Amazon, it's like $60. It's like, then they want to put you on a subscription. There's always a product thing. You go to the real stuff if you know what you're buying. It's amazing. So I highly suggest doing that. We'll be talking about this stuff too. As long as we're talking about the Indian store, I will tell you, I bought a copper pot about this big, and you put water in it. It's a real copper pot. What happens is it cleans your body in the morning. The water that sits in this pot overnight acquires this property that washes away bacteria in the morning. It's the first thing you drink to flush out your system. And if you really want to live clean, this is something I would highly look into. So Ayurvedic medicine. It's an East Indian practice. Still pretty new in the West. You're not going to be able to find this kind of conversation with just the guy down the street. Most people don't even know what I'm talking about half the time because I read so much. I'm a voracious reader. I went over like 300 books just on health and healing the subconscious mind. And of course, my business library is huge too. When I moved to the East Coast, I don't know what I'm going to do with all this stuff. I got to find a big house to move into and branch out, because I got a lot. I gave away a lot of books too, which is really kind of Sticks a knife in my heart, but I'll cancel that. Uh, I just don't want to part with all my good stuff. I spent a lot of time collecting it. Okay, so wow, it's 22 minutes into the show. We got to move things along. So I talked about chaga. I definitely highly admit this is the most amazing thing. It stopped my vomiting, stopped the flu, and it stopped the congestion. Mucinex, my God, I was buying tons of that stuff. Flonase and what was it? Claritin, and it was so funny because I was actually getting immune to some of this stuff, and I'd stop the Claritin to go back to the Mucinex. I did the Mucinex to the point where it didn't work anymore. I had to go buy something else, some kind of sinus pill, right? And if that didn't work anymore, I had to go back to Costco and get their version of the sinus pill, just because my body had built up a tolerance about all this stuff. And finally, I just said, let's just go natural and just flush it out. I'm not a big prescription drug guy. And in fact, every doctor I know hates my guts because I'm always learning. I'm not on any prescriptions at all, none. And it's been like that forever. I'm 57 years old, and I'm not a big prescription guy. I don't have a cocktail of 18 pills in the morning for anything because I don't want it. I don't need it. I can go out and find a way around it, and that's what I do, and that's why we're talking. So anyway, we call this the 5-day free challenge, the 5-day health and wealth challenge. We're going to be showing you health stuff, business applications, and I think the sessions that went on for so long, we're going to chop them up and probably re-offer them, for later use. And you can download them, and you can buy them in a package or whatever, because there's going to be a lot of topics that we'll be talking about. And I think what I like to do is show like the best of as we keep going, because we're going to have more guests coming on the show. This week we've got 3 people that are booked right now that are just doing outstanding stuff in their own individual fields. But we're going to be offering this again, maybe a larger, extensive, business challenge, and or the more health oriented challenge. And I think one of the things I want to put in the workbook is that I really encourage you guys to do an 80-20 diet. What I mean by that is 80-20 rule, 80% fruits and vegetables. And I don't care if you juice it. I don't care if you do smoothies. We'll be talking about this stuff in a minute. And 20% protein, whether that be tofu, want to do plant-based, if you want to go really, really deep with that stuff, or if you want to just do, just very, very lean chicken or beef, that's fine too, or lamb, or fish, right? Either one, some kind of a poultry, turkey is good. That is a really great way to go. Do it for 5 days and see how you feel. A lot of people I meet in meetings, I don't know what to make of them, and I don't know what their background is. I'm in Michigan right now, and we just did this thing with we legalized pot and marijuana and the 420 shops, and you can walk in, you can buy dope, you can buy pot, you can buy all this stuff, and let me tell you, it's beyond medical grade. It'll put you in the ground. Stuff is really potent, and part of our coping process and living in this crazy modern world that people just take it because it's recreational or whatever. So I never really know if I'm talking to somebody who's completely wired on something, and chances are they are. People are taking this for all kinds of stuff: anxiety, depression, and they're just trying to get along. But I tell you what, that stuff is so strong that it's really hard to function. I want to go the natural route as much as I can, and I'll tell you why. It's not that I don't really like. I got a big, stance against alcohol or pot, like which one is worse or which one's, better or worse or whatever. That debate is off the table for me, because right now I got to tell you, since I've been studying the subconscious mind, I'm actually co-creating like real miracles, real daily miracles. I don't want racing thoughts, one after another, after another, after another, after another, which is exactly what this stuff does. And either one, caffeine would do the same thing for you, but I want to have control, and I want to over that. And I want to have time for meditation, and I don't want to be in a state of worry. We'll be talking about this stuff too. Worry and its partner is anxiety. They go hand in hand. And how they actually affect the mind is how you affect your outcomes. If you're trying to do anything and you want to have a direct outcome, it's hard to do that when you have racing thoughts. I think it's almost impossible to really predict the way something's going to turn out if you're wired on something. Even prescription medication that controls this stuff, it dictates your thoughts and your reasoning. And I didn't want to be on any of this stuff. So you can see that big pharma's not going to really make any money on me, and that's why a lot of doctors that I meet, they just don't like me. Okay, so hey, you know what? I'm used to it. I don't care. I'm still here. I'm going to be here a long time. And the words of Clement Stone, when they asked him, the guy who wrote PMA, Positive Mental Attitude, I said, "How long do you think you're going to live?" And he says, "Between 104 and 110." He was positive. He was serious, and he had this great books on natural law and the subliminal mind, and subconscious mind and subconscious thinking. And he lived to be 100. Interesting guy to study, and he was a mentor to Evel Knievel. Right, and I talked about that yesterday, but this is the fun stuff we'll be talking about. I got so much to share with you, and I'm really glad that you're here, and I'm glad you're watching this thing because I hope you're gonna learn. Like I said, get a notebook and start writing some stuff down. It doesn't have to be, like a Harry Potter notebook, a leather-bound notebook, an enchanted notebook. Just get anything and get a pen, sit down, take some notes, because I'm telling you, we're about transformation and we're going to be about learning. So you're going to want to remember this stuff. I have the tendency to talk quite a bit, as you can tell, and I really highly suggest that you acquire this recording, play it over and over again until you get it. Because I don't do this so much on the phone anymore, because I'll tell you what, it's exhausting to go into it. And what's funny is that if you talk as much as I do, I used to take phone calls and consultations over the phone. Your vocal cords will actually go out on you. I don't know if you ever had that happen, but it does. And you'll be talking to somebody, and all of a sudden your voice just goes, you run out of muscle power or something. That's happened to me a couple of times, and it's really strange. And it just gives out on. I don't know what to tell you. So I'm going to record all my stuff. You're more than welcome to play it over and over to your heart's content. But for me to do this like individually, with like 40 people on the phone, I'm not your guy. I can't do that. So everything's going to be pre-recorded from now on. All right. So I'm talking about some interesting stuff about the body and healing. And I really got to tell you, guys that want to do weight loss, I had a course over the summer. I was writing it. I was trying to coach people, but on the phone or anywhere, people have their own stubborn way about them, and you can't force a horse to drink water, right? You can only lead them to it. I'm paraphrasing. It's an old expression. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force them to drink. Okay. I can lead people to the right answers on how to do weight loss, but it doesn't mean they're going to do it. And that's where I was with a lot of these people. And I was trying to explain to them that a lot of the foods that you eat, pretty much everything that you eat, if it's prepackaged, if it's pre-processed, it's highly acidic. Your body has a hard time breaking it down. It doesn't know where to store it. You start putting on extensive weight loss. I tell everyone to check their pH. And what pH really is all about is, if you remember, if you're ever a kid, you had a goldfish bowl or an aquarium, you had to check the pH of the water to make sure it's either too acidic or alkaline, right? So the fish don't die on you. If you go too high in either direction, the fish is going to die. That's the way it is. If you had a swimming pool growing up as a kid, I did. When I was living in Virginia, we had a pool. Same thing. If the pH is wrong, it's going to go, you're going to get cloudy algae in your pool after a good rain. We lived out in the country, and there was trees and all the junk got in there and leaves and stuff, and it had an overgrowth. We had to clean it. It took a long time to clean it, about a week, from what I remember. And then we had You want it to be alkaline, so it's clean water. So same thing for us. We're 80% water, probably more than that, really, if you really want to think about it. I heard that if we took all of the physical, all the water out of our body and then we just fell into a compressed mass, it'd be the size of a grapefruit. That's how much we weigh. And so it's all energy and water. Think about it, energy and water. And then you start thinking about Einstein and the cosmic quantum field and what's around us, energy, man, and water. Wow. And your outcomes and what you want to do and how you want to become. What kind of life do you want? What are you going to do? How are you going to handle that stuff? It's a deep thoughts. In the movie, What the Bleep Do I Know? There was a really great study where they took some water and they played some Beethoven to it. And they froze the water and it looked like perfectly beautiful crystals, perfectly geometric, sacred geometry is what they call it. And then there's another study they did where they yelled at the water. They froze it. I hate you. I can't stand you. Just cussing and yelling and violence and threats. And the water froze weird. It froze it looked like barbed wire. And I think that's a really interesting study. Look up the pictures if you can. And remember that we're all energy. I was just watching a show last night about cryptic, what is it called? I think it's called crypto photography. No, I'm sorry, Carillion photography, Carillion. And where we're all light. We got light quality in us. And that's important, what we eat, what we think about. Everything has a light force quality. This camera could take pictures of a tomato or anything, lettuce, tomato, whatever. And there's light that comes out of it, right? Another example I could share with you is that when you actually juice carrots, right, and extract the life force out of it and drink that carrot juice, that's good stuff. That's good for longevity and healing. But you could take the pulp from the carrots, and try to feed it to a chicken. Chickens won't eat it. Little baby chicks won't eat it because they know there's no life force in it. There's no point of eating the pulp, right? The food's dead. Wow, pretty cool. You can't fool Mother Nature, okay? So there we go. Going down the list. That book about this right here, I want to just talk about this for a minute. Okay, so makes it really simple, all right? How to make disease disappear. I like the premise. I like the idea. I think that's a really cool thing. But here's what he says. He wants you to walk 10,000 steps a day. Realistically, that's not possible for a lot of people. Unless you live in the city and you want to just, you have no choice but take subways and buses and trains. Most of us in the burbs right over here where I live, we don't really do that. We all have cars. And I did try walking a lot over the summer. I was doing, I believe, 2,000 steps a day. It's about 1.5 miles or whatever, close to 2 miles every day. I was doing that. And I happened to ask one of my friends who was in the military, what's it like for basic training? Do you guys walk that much? And he said, no, you're doing more than we did in basic training. We do it like 3 times a week or whatever. You're doing it every day. And it was overkill. I kind of stopped, but I was nowhere close to 10,000 steps. That's like 5 miles. You want to get on a nature trail and try that. Most of us have busy lives. We're trying to pay our bills, or we're living in this bizarre recession environment. And we got other things on our mind. But I thought that was excessive and a little strange. But he says 10,000 steps. I say 2,000 is enough to get you going. And watch what you eat. This is a lot of balance here. You got to really think about how you want to handle yourself and all that. I think being grateful is extremely important. When you wake up in the morning, your overall thought process should be to be grateful. That's what I am. I'm actually grateful that I'm not in some crazy place. When I say crazy place, I live in some crazy places, but south side of Chicago, I'm glad I don't live there anymore. I'm glad I don't live in Brooklyn, New York. I was going to live in Brooklyn, actually. It's a long story. After the .com crash, that was my deal. I wanted to get this rooftop apartment like Bobby Flay. I thought that'd be really, really cool. But after all the crime I see over there on Twitter and stuff, man, that's the last place I want to be as I get older. I don't want to. I don't care about being cool anymore and getting the risk of being mugged and shot and all that stuff. So uh, be grateful where you are. If you're safe, you got air in your lungs, you got some family, you got someone that loves you. That's being grateful. Give all thanks to God for that because that's you got a good life. You just got to improve it, right? Just like everyone else. They say in this book, it might be a little bit preachy, but this one says to go screen free for one day. I don't know if for some of us if that's possible. Some of us are so connected to our mobile devices. Hello, I got one right here. I'm wired. I do a show. I don't know if you can go screen free. Some guys do, but it's a nice thought. Kids should definitely go screen free. Now, as an adult, we got to take care of things and checking our bank balance and checking, our emails and business contacts and stuff. But kids should definitely go screen free a lot more than what they do. I see a lot of kids now that are completely growing up different than the way I was. And it's not a healthy thing. It's not a cute thing, not even a good thing. I would definitely kick them outside. That's what my grandparents used to do. They say, get outside and play. And we would. We'd had to do kickball. We do build forts and chase each other around with squirt guns and, be a kid, right? But today, no, we don't teach our kids that. We teach them how to play video games, how to stay in the house, and how to be afraid of the sun all day and get a vitamin D deficiency and become crybabies. And that's not healthy. And let me tell you something about children. I love children, but some of them are not so pleasant to be around. Sorry, mom and dad, that's true. Um, Take off your shoes and go earthing. I just did that recently. This summer I was reminded that we got receptors in our feet that are magnetic, and if you look at reflexology and how the foot is put together, thanks to Mother Nature and God above, we've got pressure points, or what do you want to call not pressure points, but I think that's the name kind of escapes me at the moment. When you're talking acupuncture, talks about meridian points in the body that correspond to major organs, your liver, your heart, lungs, and so forth and so on, are the same as inside your hand, right? You can actually do that. You know that little trick, right? But you can actually take your hand like this, and you can actually you can get rid of your headaches and stuff. That's really cool. It's right here, and I've done it when I ran out of, Hey, hold on. Is there somebody here? Hey, hold on. I think there's somebody here. Hold on. Is this what's going on with that? Oh, I don't know. Hey, I don't know. All right, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. Uh, I don't know. Is anybody here? Oh, all right. I don't know. Hope so. Hope so. Anyway, this part right here will actually help you get rid of your headache. And I was on a train from Chicago to Detroit, and I ran out of aspirins, and I had to do that. I remembered my training, and I got rid of my headaches that way, and it works. But when you go what's called grounding, you take your shoes off and you plug your feet back into the earth, and you get charged back up again. Same thing. All the negative frequencies that you acquire on your body electronically go back into the earth and neutralizes, and you'll feel different. You'll feel much better. You'll actually sleep better. And people out there say this is new age mumbo jumbo. It's Mother Nature, man. It's God. It's like, get a clue. I mean, you're an organic being. You're a spiritual being living in a physical body here in a world that you did not create. Uh, get connected. Get connected, and learn about energy because it's fascinating and it'll change your life. And you don't got to take a pill for every single thing, man. You don't. I don't. I don't advocate that at all. So the 80-20 rule, we covered that with more protein and vegetables. I got cleaned out to the point where I'm one of the rare guys that can actually go vegetarian in a very unique way. I can do it Indian style, right? East Indian style. I can do it Italian style. I can do it Mexican style. I can do it Korean style and Japanese style, more or less, and Chinese style, and by using tofu and vegetables and different sauces. And you know what? There's no complaints here. I can do it. I'm disciplined enough to do it. It doesn't bother me. It's food, you know, and you can make it fun. You can make like street food. I'm a big street food guy, living in Manhattan, and I used to eat a lot off food carts. Not super proud of it, but I have, and I had a lot of fun in my life when I lived over there, and Chicago too. I thought nothing of it, and I can kind of create some of that stuff here, you know. I'm in the Midwest now, so a lot of the ways that I used to live hasn't really been a huge hit over here. It's I see a lot of closed-minded belief systems that we clash a lot. So I'm from Michigan, but I came back and transformed, and hasn't been a huge. I haven't been a huge hit. Let's be honest with you. Maybe I'm too open-minded, or maybe I'm too excited about this world that I've seen, and I know that it's not. There's a lot more to it than what's offered here, and I just wish more people were more open-minded. That's my thing. That's right. That's what I believe. It says here, try to stick to a bedtime routine. Is that possible? Lately, it hasn't been possible for me. I've been actually doing some really cool stuff, and I've been doing a lot of writing and putting courses together and stuff. And I'm having a lot of fun right now. I haven't done this since when I was in Soho, New York. I had a great time when I was there. I went with the arts and came back home, and I helped build a gallery and had a great time. But since I started doing this stuff, I actually started to pop out of bed early, and I'm excited about life in a lot more ways now than probably ever. This has really been an exciting time. I'm taking all my adventures and I'm putting them into writings, and I'm actually helping people and helping them with their goals. This is a good place to be. So we're looking at apple cider vinegar. Did you know you can make dressings out of this stuff at your house? You can put it in smoothies, which put it in food. Make coleslaw. I put it in coleslaw. I put it in a lot of different things that I didn't think I was gonna, you know, do normally. I just started using it. Started thinking about live foods, live, live foods. When I came out of the hospital for candida yeast and my overgrowth, I had fungus really, really bad, and cellulitis goes all hand in hand. I was pretty sick, and I went to Better Health, and Better Health is a great health store. They had like a live salad bar, a raw salad bar. Apple cider vinegar was actually on there. I got used to splashing it on my salad, taking it easy with the store-bought dressings, and started really going raw. Started to do this thing. I became quite disciplined with it, and I realized that this is something I wanted to do. I collected all the books I could on Bragg. I think his name was Charles Bragg. We went over this yesterday. Was it one of my books, which is not in front of me, but Bragg. I got to do this better next time. My books are like all over. So Bragg was he lived to be in his late 70s. I think we talked about this a little bit in my other recordings. He was an avid surfboard enthusiast, and he accidentally killed himself on the waves. He's like 79 years old or something. He was still surfing, and he got hit in the head with a board, and he wiped out, and he died. But he died disease free. I think that's really the most amazing thing about him. He was the first longevity expert back in the 1930s, I believe it was. He was doing, he had like a traveling show, and he was the mentor to Jack LaLanne, the Jack LaLanne juicer guy. There was a picture of Jack LaLanne when he was like 15. All he ate was cake, sugar, and pop. That was his diet. And it was so unbelievable. And he had missing teeth and stuff. And I'm exaggerating, but I mean, this is the way I remember it. And I don't mean to be like pontificating about something I don't know. but the picture was so disturbing. The kid looked like something from Mad Magazine, right? I think that picture was taken down from Google. I think the family or the estate had it taken down. But I saw it a couple times and I couldn't believe that this scrawny thing, this kid, became the most powerful Jack LaLanne, who was an icon on TV for health, wellness, and fitness. So really cool stuff. And then, what a history, the apple cider vinegar. There's books on it. Bragg's Healthy Living System. I got them all. Everything from eye care to the water that you drink. There's a vegetarian cookbook that I've got. I've got the one about heart health, which is amazing. And there's a lot of phosphorus and stuff and natural good things inside this apple cider vinegar. With the mother, you got to shake it, right? And it gets rid of constipation. It helps you with your eyes, corrects your blood sugar, and it'll help you with get healthy, strong nails, hair and nails, and it's amazing. Highly suggest doing that. It's got the yeast too. They should be shaking this stuff on your salad. There's a lot of B vitamins in there. The whole full complex of B vitamins is so important for your brain. I think that I didn't know this when I was a kid. I was in college and I had a whole gang of hooligans I used to run around with. Every weekend we go out, we go bar hopping and stuff, go to frat parties and drink beer and everything. I didn't realize that was such a bad deal until it strips out a lot of your synapse, your brain, a lot of your brain chemicals go out the window. And I didn't realize that. And unfortunately, that'll lead to depression and all kinds of horrible stuff, mood swings, manic behavior, and reckless impulsive impulses. That needs to be corrected, and then we can start talking about how to fix that with things like GABA, GABA, and of course what is it? That acid. There's about 4 things. We should just do a whole show on the brain care because that's really important. If you want to actually manifest good things in your life, fix your brain chemistry so it can talk to your subconscious mind, which records everything, right? Your reticular mind can only hold about 20 things at one time. So don't fill it up with arguments, pettiness, backstabbing, gossip, which a lot of people do, or reality shows, which I cannot stand. Or if anybody who watches this stuff, like Mafia Housewives, real Beverly Housewives of Beverly Hills, or whatever it is, it's junk. And lately, I've been just saying no to a lot of it. Just I don't want to put this stuff in my brain anymore. I don't want to carry it around. And I start studying manifestation, success, the natural orders of natural law, and going back to a bunch of books that were banned 100 years ago from our powers that be, because they don't want us to be too smart. And I have started to study other stuff. So anyway, I'm getting a little long-winded, and I apologize. I tend to do that. But if you have any questions, give me a shout, 248-277-6141. And get yourself, what is it? Before I go into that, so the apple cider vinegar is good for male problems. If you got like ED, it's really good for that. It'll clean out your blood, and that's important. I don't think people really talk about that. It's good for your hair growth. I think every guy should be doing this. For myself, I think it'd be much better if you get yourself a big bottle of apple cider vinegar with a mother in it. Get a couple of them. They're like $6. They do got prepackaged drinks now. They're a little pricey, or they do a power shot. Those are fine if you want to be on the go. And I think it's great that they're doing that, especially if you live in a big city. You're running all over the place like a rat in a maze. I think it's a good product. But if you got time to slow down a little bit, you can make them at home, and you can make them more powerful too. And you can, partake in that. And of course, I'm going to say this real quick. Be careful of modified foods and the GMO stuff, genetically modified. they got this stuff that they what's that stuff they put in the food? They're MSG. I'm sorry, that's what I meant to say, and not GMO. GMO is bad too, but MSG is really interesting because a lot of food places, a lot of takeout places, are not supposed to be talking about putting this stuff in their food. People made a big stink about it, but the food companies, according to the book Crazy Makers, the Crazy Makers, which is really interesting read, by the way, says that a lot of that stuff has been actually renamed, and it's still in the foods. That's why you can sit down, your kids can sit down and eat a whole bag of Doritos. This stuff they're doing now, it was bad when I was a kid, but the snacks that these kids eat with the artificial food colorings, artificial yellow A, the yellow one, the blue two, the red 1, 2, 3. There's like red one. So what is it? I'll just name off the colors. It was the red, green, yellow, blue, and the chemicals that are actually banned in Europe. They're banned in Amsterdam. They're banned in a lot of places. They can't put this stuff in the foods, but they can do it here in America. And not only that, a lot of the varieties I came across last summer with, I think Pringles and it was Doritos. Uh, they made these chips specifically for kids based on video games. This stuff is so inedible. I don't know how the kids can do it, but they'll sit there and they'll eat a whole bag of this stuff. Takis is another one. It's a bright blue chips with hot spice in it. It's pure junk. How do I know? I've seen kids on this stuff. I see the kids that they don't pay attention. They can't sit down and have a conversation with you. And what's really even weirder about it is I've seen kids. I've talked to kids, and you look at them, they can't look you in the eye. They're like this. Their eyes just bouncing all over the place, and they're not paying attention. And it doesn't freak you out as a parent. It should, because it's not right. It might be cute when they're 10 and asking stupid questions and acting goofy and all that stuff. Try dealing with that stuff when you're 18 and see how cute it is when Bobby and Johnny can't get jobs and they're hanging around the house and smoking dope and you're stuck being the eternal parent. I'm gonna tell you, it's not a good life. So take it easy on this stuff. I would really cut down the juice drinks too, juice boxes, any of that stuff with the artificial coloring in it. Honestly, I would save the money on snacks and all that stuff, and I get my family a Vitamix, right? I would do my own smoothies and stuff right in the house. I'll make my own hummus. I've done that. I've done my own tzatziki. I like Greek food. I've done some amazing stuff with that. Vitamix is incredible. I just what a smart purchase that is. So those are my thoughts on that. Get rid of all the sugar that you can. That should be a given. But you'd be surprised what the big food companies now are doing with sugar. They'll actually rename it, and it's high concentrated levels of condensed sugar and corn syrups and additives, and then of course the fast food don't even need to really go there. I don't know if we do, but you're gonna find a whole plethora of this stuff over there. And I really got to say this, but this goes hand in hand. Children's cereals are complete junk. I know a lot of adults that eat them too. The last time I did one of those, um, I had some nostalgia. It was my birthday a few years ago, and I bought a box of Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries. That was my guilty pleasure cereal as a kid. And I tore the top of my mouth right off, like just like raw, man. It was like hamburger meat. It was so horrible, and I was in pain. I was suffering for about a week and a half, and I haven't done it since. But that stuff is all full of corn syrup, and what they do to corn is amazing. I mean, wow, just mutilated food is the best. That's a good name for a band, actually. Mutilated food. No, but it's horrible. Don't do that. Don't eat this stuff. This is really the worst thing you can do. I was doing oatmeal for a whole summer, and I never felt better in my whole life. I was doing that as a ritual. I get up in the morning, and I got into a really good loop where I would do that. And there's only so many things that can actually happen to you if you eat oatmeal every day. Well, you lose weight, your blood sugar goes down, and your diabetes too is much non-existent on the radar, and you're all right. but I highly suggest finding better food options. Grapefruit is really interesting too. When you're going back to the heart stuff and the arteries, it cleans out the plaque in your arteries. That's in my notes too. Grapefruit in the morning. So we're going through a lot of stuff here. And here we go. What else? What else? What else? What else? Um, hmm. Coming up in the first hour. So we may we may just keep going a bit longer. I don't know. I might chop this up in different segments. Because these are kind of like random subjects. They're not really in particular order. I'm coming off like there's a guy on PBS, Gary Null, right? No disrespect. I know what I'm calling here, but he used to come on PBS and he talked about health. And I was more of a sequential guy. I was always looking for like a plan, like from A to Z. What do I do? And he'd jump on and he's really animated and he would tell you what this is good for and what this is, what vitamin K is for and what vitamin D is for. And there's no relation between any of this stuff. He would just tell you random facts and he'd jump off the screen, usually during fundraisers. He used to just drive me nuts. I guess I'm coming off the same way. So if you want this stuff in some sort of sequence and some sort of a help plan, uh, I'm available. I will show you what I did. I got some pictures of myself when I was younger, just a few years ago. And man, I was huge. I couldn't believe it. I had sinus infections and of course I was in the hospital right around that time. And I mean, I was really, really in a bad way. And I'm surprised that uh, I didn't have the knowledge. I didn't have what I have now, but I really suffered because of it. So if you want this in a sequence, I can put it in a sequence. So this is the first hour. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna edit part two, right here. Part two, part two, part two, and I'll be doing some video editing, and then we're kind of getting some more stuff. Okay. Typically, right now we have breakout sessions, and we would actually go into different groups, and I'd ask you questions. My challenge for you this whole series is to do an 80-20 thing where you do fruits and vegetables. You gotta find your way. And then I would actually cut out all processed foods and I would pick a protein to go with. And if you want to go completely plant-based, you can buy a powdered protein and do it in a smoothie. If you want to go all out, I just got to say that when you go all out, it's hard to keep a good system in place because you're not used to it. And that's why resolutions don't work at the New Year's because everything is so foreign and we slip and we slide back into our old ways. If you do things on take small incremental changes, it becomes a lot easier for you. Your subconscious mind has a chance to kind of like repave the road, and then you're going to actually benefit from that because you're going to be much better. You're going to be able to adapt a lot easier. Let's just put it that way. So take it slow, and then I would do that. So I'm going to leave it there with that 80-20, no processed foods, get rid of the sugar, do lemon water and tea if you can. And then of course, this is usually part of the program and I'm talking live in front of a group of people. It doesn't matter where I'm at. There's always somebody who's gonna say, what about diet soda? Can I have diet soda? Is that good for you? um, no, but if you have to do it, I guess, you can't twist people too far. Like I said, small incremental changes. We were talking about sinus problems one time, and I'll just tell you a joke real quick during Q&A, and it was I was saying to get rid of sinus problems, you can choose some raw honeycomb. Raw honeycomb, you know what that is? That's the stuff that the bees make, right? You can buy it in little blocks. They used to sell it in health stores back in the 80s. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember you could buy it. And I used to take a spoonful and I would chew the wax because all the nutrients inside of the beeswax. And and the honey would clear out my sinuses because I have no tonsils. I'm taken out as a kid. I've had nothing but problems since. I mean, I'm serious. So I'm talking about honeycomb, and I remember this woman raises her hand and she goes, "You're talking about honeycomb?" I said, "Yes." And she says, "You mean like the cereal?" No, not the cereal. The raw stuff, the good stuff, the real thing. And so typical Q&A questions, but there's no such thing as a stupid question as long as you're sincere. I believe that you gotta have some sincerity. Don't be sarcastic and just try to be a wise guy, but have some sincerity. And you can always write me too, and I'll do it on our private group. We got a private Facebook group, and we got a private I'm sorry, a public group. I'm probably going to move that though because a lot of censorship right now. And for some reason, I don't know what it is. I know Google doesn't like the ClickFunnels stuff that we're doing. They don't like the fact that we're getting people without ads. They don't like that at all. And of course, this new thing that we're doing to acquire our new traffic strategies, the Russell Brunson, Dan Kennedy, and Pedro, God, what's his name? Alvaro, one of my mentors. We're doing new stuff now, and they really come down hard on us, man. They want us to buy ads, and I'm like the black pariah of Facebook right now. They let me know they don't like me, and I got screenshots of their harassment. So I'm thinking about moving us to a group site or something like that. It's gonna be a private group with some public qualities, but I think we're gonna get off social media. Instagram too has just been terrible. They're all terrible, actually. We want to get down to it. We'll be covering more of that stuff though in the technical edition, the business stuff that we'll be doing. That's not going to happen today. We're on a roll. We're doing this health thing. So there we go. So let me see. We're not going to go a full 2 hours today. Probably we're going to go just a little bit more, and I think I'm going to squeeze it all in for one episode. And I think that's the best way to do it because there's there's a lot to be said, and I got most of it down already. Believe it or not, I think, actually, wow. No, maybe not. Maybe who knows? I'll just keep going and see what happens. Where we got? We got mm, 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 mm. We should have some juicing recipes here too for you guys. And I always say juice 2 times a day or do a smoothie if you can. That's excessive though for a lot of people. And there's a whole ritual to it. There's a whole process. Like for example, a lot of the nutrients are inside the fruits and vegetables, but they're in the peeling. Some of the peeling should stay on the fruits and vegetables. Definitely the carrots. When you do carrots, you want to just basically just wash them, kind of scrub them, but don't peel them because a lot of the nutrients inside there. Granny Smith apples are the same way. A lot of your pectin is inside the peeling. So if you're having a hard time with constipation and stuff, and you want an easy release, leave the peelings on the green apples by all means. That pectin is so strong. It's stronger than any pharmaceutical that can. I mean, it can bust a block of concrete. You want to really, be free down there. Do about 4 granny apples straight. Make sure you cut the core out and the apple seeds out because the apple seeds got a quality in there that if you juice them, it's like arsenic. From what I've read, Jay Cordich, the Juice Man, I believe I read that in one of his books. And they also use it to make firecrackers and dynamite or something like that. It's just some crazy thing. Don't juice the seeds. You don't need to juice the seeds, the core. Cut that part out, that real tough part, and then make sure you cut the tops and the stems off. There's impacted dirt inside there that's got all kinds of like pesticides and stuff. Make sure you don't want that in your juice. Just get it out because the juice that you're gonna make is going to go into a cellular level. It's going to get into your body, and the pectin. Let me tell you exactly what that does. Okay, that goes inside of your lower intestines, your lower colon. and it actually pulls the crud off the sides of your intestines and just pulls it off the walls, just pulls it right up, and then you can release it, which is really powerful. That's powerful stuff. You want to do that, and if you can't do it, like twice a day, do it 2 or 3 times a week. You got to get used to this stuff. If I was going to say you're going to get militant about it and do all this, and you got to change your life and make all these heavy demands, most of you won't do it. I know, because I've consulted people over the phone. They don't do what I say. They like to hear my stories though, over and over again, which is why I'm recording this. But they won't actually do it. So do it for yourself and have your own results. So we're going to probably put this inside of a workbook of some sort so you can actually see what this does and how it can help. All right. So, and I really think we're talking about, I got my notes. Here's what it says. It says, let me show you what the plan is going to look like. So I'm thinking about a workbook or something that I'm going to put this into. It says manifestation of miracles and healing on a cellular level. Yes, I think we're talking about planner's warts here. Wait, I got some pictures of this family we helped. This kid had planner's warts all over his feet. He had a horrible diet. He had some sort of condition of candida yeast in his body because he ate a lot of he eat Cheez-Its like by the box full, and then which is bad. The whole box, unbelievable. And then he would do Chips Ahoy, a whole bag of Chips Ahoy, like think nothing of it. And one day, Pringles, right? More starches, more, and then juice boxes constantly. So sugar and wheat, man, his whole foot was peppered with planner's warts that go deep into the foot. And what's funny about those things is they don't show up on x-rays. And then you never really know how deep it goes. So he had some kind of a fungal condition in his blood. I was contacted by that family to help them. They had an old Juice Man 2. I don't even think they even make those anymore. But I said, well, you know what? That's a good juicer. Let's give it a shot. And I helped them. I gave them the recipe, how to get rid of it. We talked about it a little bit yesterday with green apples, carrots, celery, raw beet, and then parsley. Parsley is cool because when you juice it, it gets condensed into this really strong chlorophyll, which can actually penetrate inside of the tumor, right, and deliver fresh blood supply. And then it breaks up the tumor and it gets rid of it. Doctors won't tell you that, but I will because I've done it. I had tumors. I had planus warts. Acquired them early in life. And I want to say it was because of all the antibiotics and stuff that I was on. My blood just went bad after a while. And I had it. And it was at the size of a golf ball. There was so many warts in there. Doctor's going to cut my heel off. They'll deny it, but that's what they were going to do. And thankfully, I had the juicing thing where I actually went out and did it. Can explain that situation, that story. It's on the web. If you want to Google Ted Cantu planner's warts, you can read the whole thing. I should do a whole episode just on that because you're gonna flip out what's happening. There was a supernatural component to it too. That's really awesome. And doctors are still telling people to use duct tape to pull them off. Right? Who would put duct tape on a raw wound and then try to pull it out? It's barbaric, right? It's insane, but that's what they're telling people to do. You can Google that. Google that too. Get the whole story. Don't just listen to me. Google the whole thing. If you're gonna, never take anybody's word for it without checking into what he's saying. I'm telling you the truth, but I'm just saying there's so many fake and phony gurus out there that be aware. Yeast and fungus control. I had so much candida in my body. This kid didn't have it in his toes, but I had it in my toenails, right? I starved it out. Actually starved it out. And I had some, I think the company's called Colic, Kyolic, and they do a candida cleanse. And it's about $40, but it's worth it. You can starve this stuff out. I know they were doing it with Lamisil, get rid of the fungus and get rid of toe fungus, but Lamisil is only good for so long, and the doctor's not going to redo your prescription because it's going to eventually tear into your liver. you know, they don't want to take responsibility for that. That I'm just saying, there's so many horrible side effects with these prescriptions. Go all natural if you can. Push it to the absolute hilt and then see if you need medication after that. Most times you probably won't, as long as you're steadfast and dedicated and you mean to get rid of the stuff and be sincere. I'm gonna go down the list here, and this is looking like wow, I'm covering a lot of stuff here. I got my blood sugar down to the point where doctors at one point told me I was diabetic, which is scary. They wanted to put me on all this medication, and they had plans for me, but I walked out of the hospital. I remember I told my mom to take me down to Ann Arbor. I went into a Whole Foods, I believe it was, and I bought a book on how to be plant-based eating, and I actually did it for about a year. And then I had one more bout with cellulitis after that. I had a crazy thing. You want to be careful when you juice a lot. Make sure you take calcium and magnesium, because I had a boil in my body where all the poisons collected in one spot. And I was told, because I read a lot, or I was informed, I should say, to take a bath in bentonite clay, that it pulls poisons out of your body. And I did that, and I got an infection, and I had to go to the hospital and have it lanced, which was an ugly experience. And it was on my birthday. Horrible, horrible time. But I guess the one good ray of sunshine that came out of that was when I did that, the doctors looked at my blood work and said I was clean. I didn't have any diabetes or anything. He's fine. And being the wise guy that I am, I actually went to the hospital menu and ordered a sandwich, a roast beef sandwich. I watched Ocean's 11 from 1960, was it 62, with Frank Sinatra and all that stuff. It was on my subscription channel. I watched it in my hospital room. I thought that was pretty cool to order something off the menu and be like a normal person for a change in a hospital. It's a pretty uplifting feeling. And I got a clean bill of health. I was able to walk out of there. One of the few times that's probably happened in that place. Calcium, superfoods, moringa. Ooh, moringa. Get some of that stuff out. It's still cheap. I don't think the FDA is really onto this stuff yet, but moringa is awesome because it's a superfood, super cheap. When I say that, you get a whole big bag of it for like $14 off of Amazon, have it shipped right to your house. You put some bananas in there, some blueberries, and some almond milk, and you got a good breakfast and a little bit of spinach. I think that's the way to go. And I think you're going to really, really feel a huge difference in that with your mood, with your overall health. You're going to really feel a huge difference. But that's going to be one of the best deals going on right now. Vitamin C, of course, is good for the heart. Varicose veins. I have flat feet. That's just the way I was born. But I still got them. I'll have varicose veins my whole life. I got flat feet. But L-arginine, so the letter L dash arginine, okay, my accent, sorry, is really awesome to take along with apple cider vinegar drinks because it's going to flush out your plaque in your legs and your varicose veins. They were so black and so blue that they look like tree stems on my lower ankles. I was embarrassed of it. And in fact, one foot still has some problems, but it'll take a while, but it will get flushed and washed out. Doctors, because they can't ever give you a compliment when you're doing something natural. The guy says, well, they're still in your feet, Mr. Cantu. They're still deep inside in your feet. You just can't see them on the outside of your leg. He's right. He's right. but he couldn't even give me credit for that. I stopped seeing him a long time ago. I had two different foot doctors I used to go to. Two, unbelievable. One guy had to clean up my nails with a what do you call that? Like a sander. I'm not a hot, and he's plugging the wall like a Black and Decker type thing, and it was horrible. Uh, if you ever seen Dumb and Dumber with the sparks flying off the guy's toes, that was toenails. That was me. It was a horrible time. And then there's a part where they're raw nerve endings and they bleed. And I'm just telling you the real stuff. And it was such a horrible experience. I wanted to starve it out. I starved it out, and I had them cut, and I cut out the fungus, starved that out, and I got clean nails to this day. They're not perfect, but I got the nail beds in there. Didn't have to have surgery, and I was really, really grateful for that. Colon cleanse. Wow, you should do what the French do. They do major organ cleanses throughout the year. I believe France does a kidney cleanse, a liver cleanse, pancreas cleanse. I mean, you juice that flushes everything out, which is what you really should do, and then it gets the enzymes to flow again. I recommend that for everybody. But most people don't do cleanses like that. Colon cleanse, heart cleanse, or not heart cleanse, colon cleanse, pancreas cleanse, kidney cleanse. It's amazing. I don't know, but just because we're living in America, land of the free, doesn't mean we know everything. Europe, they're a lot more advanced in some of these areas than we are. My last bit of notes, I've got something here that talks about no milk. Milk is horrible for you. Raw, I mean, vitamin D milk is really bad for you. There's stuff in there, like it's like a casein. And if you don't know what casein is, according to the book Fit for Life, a great book, talks about this. Casein is actually used for wood glues, and you wonder where your sinus and mucus comes from. It's horrible. I've seen kids with earaches that have snot running off their noses and they're crying their heads off. The parents are giving them more milk, and unbelievable, man. Those poor kids, and it just comes from a lack of knowledge. Whole milk is really, really bad for you. I used to drink it as a kid. I haven't had it since probably sixth grade. We used to buy it. We haven't bought whole milk in a long time. My parents haven't bought it. I definitely haven't bought it on my own. I do almond milk if I do it. There's different types now. There's an oat milk which is out there, which tastes like wallpaper. I can't stand it. It's not my favorite. I just can't stand it. But there's different ones now. So if you want to get really crazy, there's a camel milk at the health store. I'm a pretty gutsy guy, but I won't go for that. I do like goat milk though, of all things. Goat milk is really cool because it's actually makes you strong, builds up your immune system. The great 1-2 punch for the wintertime, as we're coming into this new season. My guilty pleasure, you walk into a health store, you want to buy a multi-grained cereal that has the ancient grains in it from Egypt. Like, I'm probably going to murder the pronunciation, so just bear with me. I think it's Aramath or Aramath. Came from Egypt. People used to fight over it. The Romans used to kill each other and have wars over it because it made their bodies strong, if you read your history. And then there were some other ones too. They're these lost grains, but man, they're powerful. And they don't taste bad. They taste pretty good actually. And you get some blueberries, and then you get some. Well, let me backtrack. That cereal was called Empower at one time, and they changed the name of it. But there's about 7 ancient grains in there, and health store would have it. So it's the thing. Some fresh blueberries, and then get some goat milk. Goat milk, and that'll knock out, that'll build up your immune system. you'll feel like you can walk through walls when you take this stuff, and it's very, very powerful, very good for you. You probably will be resistant to flus and colds and that sort of thing, and it doesn't taste any different than grape nuts, but it's a little different. Everything new is different, but boy, you'll feel energetic when you do that. So those are my notes for the health challenge. So remember what I said: 80-20 rule. Cut out the sugar. Cut out the processed foods. Do it for 5 days. All right. Um, that's part of the challenge. You want to get really crazy and do it for 30 days. Like anything else, it's going to become habitual, right? It's about good habits. Or we should say atomic habits, the things that you will do. And to the parts where it becomes like part of your subconscious mind and you start doing it automatically without thinking about it, that's really where the miracles and stuff start happening. It gets really interesting. But these are all small jumps, and I encourage everyone to do that. Also, too, we talked about the subconscious mind yesterday quite a bit. We'll be doing more of that. I really think reprogramming yourself that way is really the best way to go, especially now when we got 900 TV stations, I don't know, 1,200 satellite radio stations, commercials, and music, and just wow, what a noisy world it is. So noisy right now that and it's all, a lot of it's negative. So uh, that's the world we're in, and if that appeals to you, then I guess great. But you want manifestations and jumps. This book I'm really pleased with. I like this one, the Book of Manifestations. One of the few good books that came out of Barnes and Noble. There's 30 techniques in there. The guy that wrote it he's a kid, and his name is Michelle, Mishal. Last name is oh, I see. He's got one of these names that only has one name. Mishal. Michelle. Like Sting and Cher and Bono, right? But it's a workbook, as you can see, and that's kind of cool because right here it's all about manifestation techniques, strategies, things that you can implement. There's 30 of them. And if you want anything to materialize, I think it's important to stay strong with it. Stay really strong with it. Clean out your office, clean out your car, clean out your house so the energy can come flow. You have central focused thinking. Your thoughts aren't going to be scattered all over the place. That's an energetic manifestation principle. Call it feng shui, call it new age. It's not really about that. Now, you want to backtrack a little bit of gospel in there. The devil likes confusion. He thrives in it. So clear it out. Make sure your thoughts are centralized and focused. That's where you're going to get the real manifestation. That's where you're going to get the miracles from. That's where you're going to get the really cool stuff. And that's where I'm going. And I hope you're going to go there with me because I'm telling you, I'm building this side hustle right now for other people to make $30,000 a month plus. And right now, we got some great things that are happening. So it's the little things that count. These things do add up, and good things happen. So I want to thank you for joining me today. We're going to go into this. What is it? About 2.5 hours. I'm sorry, now an hour and a half, which is fine. Tomorrow, we may take a day off tomorrow. I'm not sure. I have to do some things. I might pick this back up on Thursday, but I encourage you to go through these videos and to find something that clicks with you on the health. And as far as yesterday, we did day one. We did 2 hours and a half. We had some audio problems. I may record some of that stuff over again. And then we got to bring on our special guests. So we got some work to do. But thank you for joining me today. I'm Ted Cantu. I'm an author. I'm also certified in NLP. neuro-linguistic programming. We'll talk a little bit about that later. Now, when it comes to sales, it gets really interesting stuff. And then I'm an online art director from Chicago, New York, Detroit, all that stuff. And I'm here to help. Got any questions at all, give me a call at 248-277-6141. I'm in EST time. I'm in Detroit time. So if you call me at 4 o'clock in the morning, like some people do, they insist on doing that. That hasn't happened in a while. But just keep that in mind. I'm in Metro Detroit. And my website is tedcantu.com. So tedcantu.com has some of our ClickFunnels stuff in there for the 5-day challenge. But if you want to go tedcantu/index.html, you'll see my search engine optimization stuff, all my SEO stuff, and some really cool things. So thanks for watching. And of course, we got a giveaway coming up for the Cheesecake Factory, which is cool. So when you come on board with us live, you're automatically entered. So I encourage your participation for that. Look forward to seeing you and hearing your questions. I wish you all the best. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you online. Thanks.